So we'll start at a tabletop today. And we are going to do a variety of things that are working on core and then working on some upper body kind of full body strength things. So it'll be a variety of work today, but it'll be a little bit of work today. The garage studio is a bit cold this morning, so the gloves are coming on. So we are going to be in cows and cats, and that's where we're going to practice and develop our breathing. So first of all, in tabletop here, let's get our breath into our nose for a couple of breaths and fill up your belly. It may be, easier to do it here in this position to get into your belly. All right, now we'll get into cows and cats. In the cow, we're going to drop our belly, stick up our butt, and lift our head on the inhale. And on the exhale is the cat. Tuck in your hips and start to arch your back and drop your head. And then inhale into cat. And exhale. Oh, I'm sorry, I just said that backwards. And exhale into cat. The goal in cows and cats is start to warm up your spine. So we're not trying to push anything. We're not trying to really force your spine to get in any position. We're just moving, I don't know, like a snake moves sideways. We're trying to kind of create that motion with our spine. And just focus on your breath and trying to inhale fully. And then when you're done with the inhale, then roll into cat. And then come back to a neutral tabletop. And let's lift up your left arm as high as it'll go on the inhale. And then on the exhale, we're going to come into threading the needle. And threading the needle is simply bringing your left arm through your right, dropping your right elbow, and then starting to drop your left shoulder down towards the mat. Right? So you're going to have to adjust with your right arm where you are in this pose, because the goal is to rotate your spine and to be dropping your left shoulder towards the mat. So the inhale is to lift up a little bit, and the exhale is to drop your left shoulder towards the mat. And maybe for you, it's really easy to do that. And so your goal is to continue to bring your left hand out. Inhale up and exhale down. We'll do one more breath like this. So we're getting a nice twist in our upper body, especially. And as well, opening up your shoulder. Bring your left arm back, come to a tabletop. We'll do a cow and a cat again, just one. Lift up your right arm this time, high as you can on the inhale, and the exhale, come on through. And again, adjust your left hand. You can drop your left elbow. So maybe it's easier for you to keep your left hand or your left elbow off the mat. This seems to be a little bit easier on this side at least. And inhale and exhale and rotate. Bring your arm out a little bit farther. Bring your right shoulder down. My head is also on the mat, so be judicious of your neck, that you're not trying to create too much pressure, because that's not what we're trying to do. Just keep moving with your breathing. Good. Now let's come on back up. Come into a cow and a cat just for a moment. Now we're going to come into some core work. So we'll start into a downward dog. Bring your hands up to the front of the mat and bring your feet back, and we'll come into a downward dog. So our inhale is always going to be to relax your shoulders or your hips, and the exhale is just going to be sinking a little bit farther into the pose. And in this case, you can come up on your tiptoes and then sink back on one heel. And then come up on your tiptoes and sink back on the other heel. You can come up on your tiptoes and sink down a little farther with your shoulders. All right. And then inhale, and then roll yourself forward to a high plank. I'm going to hold this for a few moments. If this is too much for your wrists, just come down to an elbow plank, and that's just fine. So the goal in a high plank is to have your hips, so you don't want to be in a complete straight line, but just a little bit above. And kind of try to relax your legs, your knees. Just breathe into your belly with the stress. All right, good. Let's get into a side plank. And in the side plank, you come down on one hand, bring your arm up. Now, we're going to come into something. We're going to try it and see how it goes. I'm stacking my right foot on top of my left. We're going to come into, it's called wild thing. All right. Now I'm bringing my, I'm going to put my right hand down just because I'm going to fall over. Bringing my right foot back, and wild thing is kind of starting to pop up your hip. So I'm bringing my right foot back. My right knee is up, and I'm pushing my hips out for another second, and then rolling back to a high plank. And I'm going to drop my knees, come into a child's pose to rest my shoulders, and to let them out a little bit. Wild thing is such a crazy pose for the work that it does on your shoulder, but it also does a lot of work for your core. All right, let's come back into a, I'm going to turn around, come back into a downward dog. I'm not going to have to do it on the mat. All right. And we'll do the same routine, but on the other side, obviously. All right, now let's roll forward into a high plank. And again, you can come to your elbows if you need. You can come to your knees if you need in the elbow plank. Two more breaths. Good. Okay, let's roll over onto our side into a side plank. And so my left foot is in front of my right. Breathe into your belly. That's the hard part when you're getting tired and it's a challenging pose. All right, now I'm going to drag my left foot back, come into wild thing. So my left knee is up. Bringing up my hips. Good Lord, this is a challenge for the morning. So the exhale is pushing up your hips. Oh, and let's roll back and come in to a side into our child's pose just to rest for a moment. Wow. Actually, I was feeling that a lot in my gluteus medius, which is that concave spot in your butt cheek. It's that's the stabilizer muscle, your gluteus stabilizer. And those are always not as strong as they could be, especially in endurance athletes, or if you sit a lot or don't move a lot, because they don't have to stabilize much. And with endurance athletes, we tend to move forward and backwards. And so that's all the position we need to go. Cross country skiers, you got this. You with skating at least. All right, let's come forward. We're going to come into a downward dog and do a couple of sun salutations. With a high to low plank, get some upper body strength work. Good. Let's inhale. Look to the top of the mat. Walk your feet forward into a forward fold. Inhale into a half lift. Exhale into a forward fold. And then come all the way up to overhead pose. And then come back down to forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale the whole time. High plank, low plank, and then up to a cobra on the inhale, and then exhale back to downward dog. So we'll do that 3 more times. We'll do high to low plank to cobra or to upward facing dog. And we've talked about the difference with upward facing dog and cobra. It's basically that your knees are off the ground in upward facing dog and your tops of your feet are on the mat. All right, let's walk forward on the exhale into a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold all the way up. Mountain upright, all the way back down. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra, and then back to downward dog. So we're really focusing, first part was focusing on some core strength with the planks. Now we're continuing a little bit of core strength, but really working on some of that upper body strength. Walk your feet forward. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold, all the way up, all the way back down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, and exhale back to downward dog. We'll do 2 more rounds. Just keep going in downward dog and trying to keep opening your shoulders and your legs. Good. Walk your feet forward on the exhale. Inhale to a half lift. Forward fold. It's always amazing to me as we do these, how your body starts to open and even forward folds start to become easier. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale to Cobra and exhale to downward dog. Good. One more breath here. And let's walk our feet forward on the exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. All the way up. All the way back down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Into upward dog or Cobra and back. All right. I may have miscounted, but I think that's it. We're going to do a little more work with our shoulders and our upper body and our core. It's going to be simply moving from downward dog, rolling forward into a plank, rolling on to your toes and coming in to a Cobra. And then inhaling, curling your toes back under and pushing back in the downward dog. Inhale, roll all the way down. Inhale into a Cobra. Try to get your shoulders back. Really feel your triceps struggling a little bit. Curl your toes back under. Come back in a downward dog. Walk our feet forward and come into a forward fold, into a half lift, forward fold, and then all the way back up. And bring your hands to heart center and then down to your side. And take an inhale. And we're going to do Warrior 2 and really focus on your shoulder and arm strength. Let's take an inhale. Take a step back with your right foot and then drop your left heel. Just come to a comfortable position. So now your left knee is over your left ankle. Your right leg is straight, but you're trying to get some good balance of weight on your back. Then the key is going to be this: bring up your arms. And we are going to try to bring in our core, bring in our belly, be strong in our upper body, and hold your arms. So the inhale is to relax. The exhale is to stretch them out. Take just a check over your back shoulder and see that check your arm to see that it's not like rolling forward, but it's straight back. Really pull your arms apart. Three more. We're doing a time. Good. Bring your hands to your waist. Bring your foot forward. Find your breathing again. We're doing this only and without a transition, just to rest your shoulders a little bit, release some of the tension that builds up in your shoulders when you're holding that kind of a pose. So we're just resting for a moment. You're rolling out our shoulders. I'm going to flip around position. And I'm just going to come here. All right, we're going to take a step back with our left foot this time. Drop your left heel. Bend your front knee so that it's over your front ankle. Get your leg straight. Bring up your arms. It's going to be slightly different with this because of the position of obviously your torso. So reach forward, relax on the inhale and reach. Try to get your arms up as straight as possible. Look out over your front one, but try to focus on reaching the back one as far back and straight back as you can. Really focus on breathing into your belly. It says get hard when you start getting tired, but that is exactly the challenge that we're looking at with trying to work on our breathing. Good. Let's bring our arms down. Give them a rest. All right. We have just a few more things, and then we're going to end our practice differently than we normally do. Not quite into Shavasana, but just to rest. So we'll see how we like it. All right, so we're just in mountain pose for a moment, trying to get our breath back. We're going to do one more piece of strength work. Find your breath into your belly. Just try to relax your belly. Good. Bring your arms up overhead. Come into a sun salutation. Exhale to forward fold. And we'll inhale to a half lift. Exhale. Bring your hands down. We'll come into a plank, but just for a moment. And then let's drop your knees. And we're going to come into a locust pose. So we're going to come onto our belly. Bring your hands to your side. And your chin on the floor or on the mat. It's not going to be there for very long. All right, so get stretched out. Now, what we'll do for Locust is we're going to bring our head and shoulders off the mat. And you'll have to kind of figure out what's comfortable for you and what you can manage. And if you can, bring your arms off the mat. Okay. And you're just trying to bring up yourself as much as possible. And if you can, let's bring your knees and feet off the mat. Now, if you're doing this right with your breath, you're going to start rolling a little bit. The inhale, you'll rock up a little bit. The exhale, you'll come down because you're trying to expand your belly. And you're just working on squeezing your booty and your lower back. One more breath. Good, and then come on down. And rest. All right, we're going to do one more of those locust poses. And again, you can also do superheroes with your arms stretched out in front. But what we're trying to do here is to create the tension in our back, but also in our shoulder blades. So when we're bringing our arms up, so let's start now, and your hands up, try to squeeze your shoulder blades and your lower back and your glutes as much as you can. So this is kind of like a reverse forward fold, kind of trying to fold yourself backwards, but creating some kind of isometric squeeze. All right, last breath and down. And so we'll end practice. Are we on? Perfect. We're ending practice just pushing up into a child's pose. And let's bring our knees wide on the mat, bring your big toes together, and sit your butt back towards your heels. We're going to do that one first. So the tops of your feet are on the mat, and sometimes, at least for me, they start to cramp up my feet too. And so just be aware of that. Try to kind of straighten your back a little bit. We'll come back to that more in a minute. And then extend your hands. Now, if you have a block, and if you need to, you can put your head on a block here, or just let it hang. Some of you are going to be able to let it hang to the floor. Can't quite get there. So what we're doing is we're going to inhale, lift up our hips, and exhale and try to straighten our back out a little bit. So we're bringing the tops of our hips down. And so you'll feel this in your upper hamstrings into your hip joint and in your glutes. So inhale, come up with your hips. Exhale, try to straighten your back. Now at the same time, when you inhale, bring your shoulders up, and then exhale and keep your back straight. So when you come up on the inhale, you're kind of almost arching your back, and then on the exhale, you're trying to straighten it. And we're just inhaling and focusing on our breath primarily. That's your first focus. All right, let's come up. All right, thank you. Whew, that was a lot of work today. Good job if you got it all done. If you didn't, good work. We'll get it again next time. If you have questions, it's paulw@simpleendurancecoaching.com. Come and check out the website and check out what we have to offer for coaching and strength training and yoga practice, and using all of those to become as good an everyday endurance athlete as you can. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.